Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well and I welcome you all to today's session. And in this session, we are going to focus on the recent update from Infosys regarding the upgradation examination. So the students who got selected for system engineer role are now getting the upgradation email to upgrade their designation from system engineer to DSE role, which is digital specialist engineer, or SP, which is specialist programmer role, right? So we will quickly discuss the difference and the syllabus and the exam pattern regarding to it. So without wasting any time, let's get to the video. So let's get started with the structure. So at first we have the system engineer role. This is a mass hiring role, so the amount of seat here is very high, right? And the salary for this role is 3.6 lakhs per annum, and it's an entry level role, right? We are aware about this for system engineer. This is the requirement. Now we have also faced the examination, and this pattern is we have a aptitude test of different segments like logical and verbal ability and quant, and then we have coding related questions which range from easy to medium level, and the language allowed are Java, Python, C, and C++, right? So the student who got selected for the system engineer now can opt for the upgradation examination and can move to the next two roles, right? So for system engineer, we need a very foundational knowledge to crack this particular role. Now, moving on to the DSC role gives us the salary package of 6.25 lakhs per annum, and it's an intermediate role. The responsibility here is going to be higher than the last role, which is the system engineer, right? And the exam pattern here is that we have three coding related questions, and the allocated time for solving this question is 3 hours. So 1 hour for each question, and we are going to focus, we need to have strong focus on data structure and algorithm, right? So the questions we can expect is going to be hard, medium to hard level difficulty, right? And we also discussed the time limit, and based on how we are performing in this coding round, and if we are shortlisted further, we will be called for an interview, and based on our performance in on both of this round, we will be awarded this particular designation, right? Now, moving on to the third, we have specialist programmer role, which is SP, and here the base payment is 9.5 lakhs per annum, and it's an advanced programming role. So by which I mean, for this particular role to crack this, we need very good proficiency in coding as well as technical fundamentals, right? So the seat going to be very much limited for this particular role. For DSC, we have moderate level of seats, but for specialist programmer, only the top performers are going to be shortlisted for this particular role, right? So that was the basic difference between all these three roles. Now let's get to the coding related exam part, which we discussed here, the three code related examination, and let's discuss about its pattern, right? Moving on. So now let's discuss the exam pattern. As we discussed, is going to be a 3 hour long examination, and we will have three questions. So it's going to be 1 hour each for each question, right? And the languages which we are allowed are C, C++, Java, Python, and JavaScript. These are the allowed languages, right? The first question is going to be of easy level difficulty, right? And the main focus for this question are going to be basic aptitude related questions or algorithm related question or data structure related questions. My advice will be to focus mostly on arrays and string because as per the PYQs, this is a segment which they basically focus for the first question, right? So my advice will be, if you're preparing for the first question, is to go for the previous year question and understand the pattern, right? Which is easily available online, right? We can go through it, and we can also revise the concepts of arrays and string and solve as many as problem which we can, right? And this knowledge will not only help us in the first question, it will also come handy for the next two problems, this knowledge of arrays and string. Okay, so my advice will be to go with the basics of data structure and arrays and strings and solve as many as problems, and also going with the PYQs. And if we are good till now, right, we can also practice few easy level questions from lead code to be fully prepared for this particular segment. Okay, so now let's move to the next question. In the second question, we are going to get a medium level difficulty problem. It will be basically focusing on either time complexity related optimization problem or recursion or backtracking related problems. So for this, my advice will be going solely for the PYQs and understanding the pattern again, and also focus on easy and medium level difficulties lead code problem, right? So that will help us to prepare for this one. And the third question is basically going to be the hard difficulty level. And here the main focus will be on dynamic programming or graphs and trees. From the past year question, we can say the main focus will be on graphs and trees only for this particular problem, right? And for here also we can uh, go for preparing for the last question, we can also go with the lead code, right? It will help us to prepare. So now, if you have to talk about the cutoff, there are no official data on it, but as per the PYQs and the previous patterns, we can say for the first question, try to run all of the test cases. We have to satisfy all of the test cases, 100% of them, right? For the second question, it is advisable to solve 80 to 90% of the test cases, right? And for the last, if we are solving nearly about 80 to like 75 to 80%, then it's good to go, right? We have a strong chance, right? So based on how we are performing in this coding round, we will be called for the next round, which is the interview round. Now, so before moving to the next segment, let's talk about the Achiever 2.5 placement guide. It is a complete placement guidance for any MNC related examination as well as government examination. It has both live and recorded classes, right? And this will not only help us to cover our technical related segments like coding and DSA part, but it will also help us to cover our non-technical part, which is quantitative aptitude, reasoning ability, and verbal ability section, right? So the most important thing which I like to highlight from this course is that this has a question bank of more than 500 plus actual PYQs. And as I said in this session also, the more and more PYQ we solve, the more advantage we have in our hand, right? So this has more than 500 plus questions, and it also have mock test and mock interview, which will help us to prepare for our upcoming technical assessment as well as our technical interview rounds. So the link is in the description, you can check it out. Now let's move to the next section, which is the interview related important topics. Now, talking about the important topic from interview perspective, the first topic would be OOPS concept. We should be very much familiarized with the OOPS concept, as well as we should also be aware about DSA related concepts, right? And also with basic computer fundamentals or coding fundamental related concepts, right? So there might be chances that the interviewer might give us few coding related problems in the interview round too, right? Moving on to the next, we have DBMS and computer networking. These are again covering our technical perspective of the interview, and I will also like to add OS, which is operating system, to this segment. So we should be very much thorough with the concepts. It is recommendable to go through the PYQs or the previous year interview experiences which are easily available online, so that we have the basic idea of the pattern of question which comes in this interview rounds, right? And these are the key topics which generally an interview focuses, right? Now the fourth and the most important point is the project. So both the projects, that both academic and personal one, which we have listed in our CV, we should be very much aware about what are the components we have used in the project, what is the main goal of the project, and what is the novelty. This is a very good and common question in interview round, where they ask what is the novelty of the project, which is how is your project unique than others, right? So this we should be very much prepared about. Moving on to the next, we have time and space complexity. This is very much basic. They might ask us what is the time complexity or space complexity of a particular scenario or a particular chunk of code, right? That is very much possible. And the sixth point from which we can expect less weightage. So they might ask us a question related to HR or behavioral or reasoning related questions. This is not so important, but it might be a possibility that we might be receiving question from this segment too, right? So that's going to be it. That's how the exam is structured. At first, we are going to receive the 3 hours, 3 coding related examination. Based on how we perform, we will be called for our interview round, and based on the performance of this both, we will be awarded the designation which we have previously saw, right? The DSE or the SP1. Right, so that's going to be it for this particular session. I hope you like this, and if you have any doubt or concerns, please post it in the comment section and I will try my best to answer them. Until then, keep practicing and all the best for your upcoming exams.